Today, we're diving into the work of a man who was so much more than just a painter. He was a storyteller, a rebel, and honestly, a seeker of some really deep truths. This is the story of William Holman Hunt, an artist who truly believed that every single brushstroke could be a revelation. So let's just start with this question. What if every little detail in a painting, every shadow, every color, every object, wasn't just there to look pretty, but was actually trying to tell you something? Something much, much deeper. Because, that's exactly the world that William Holman Hunt invites us into. His canvases aren't just pictures. They're these incredibly complex stories, all woven together with the ideas of light, faith, and a non-stop search for what's real, what's true. Okay, so to get Hunt, you first have to understand that he was a total rebel. He looked at the art world around him, with all its stuffy, old-fashioned rules, and basically said, nope. Time for a revolution. He and his friends were about to shake everything up. So back in 1848, Hunt and a few other young, pretty radical artists got together and formed what was basically a secret club, the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. And their mission? It was to completely tear down the old, rigid rules of art and build something brand new, something that was just breathtakingly honest. And you can see right here what they were up against. On one side, you've got the formal, kind of gloomy world of academic art. And on the other, bam, the Pre-Raphaelite vision. It's vibrant, it's realistic, and it is jam-packed with symbolism. It wasn't just a small change. It was a completely new way of thinking. And what's wild is how quickly this all happened. He was born in London, and he actually got into the very school he would later rebel against, the Royal Academy. But just 4 years later, at only 21 years old, he helped start a movement that's going to change art history forever.
So this whole new vision was really built on one core idea, a relentless, almost obsessive quest for realism. It was this absolute commitment to painting the world exactly as it is, right down to the last tiny, meaningful detail.
So his style has these really clear hallmarks. You've got colors so bright they practically glow, details so sharp they're almost like a photograph. But here's the key thing. All that realism was always pointing to something bigger, to this deep, layered symbolism that dug into big moral and spiritual questions. To really, truly get what Hunt was doing, we've got to decode one of his absolute masterpieces. It's time to put on our detective hats and uncover all the meaning that he hid right there in plain sight. And the key to unlocking his genius is probably his most famous painting, The Light of the World. Seriously, this thing is way more than just a painting. It's practically a sermon on a canvas.
And as we look closer, you have to remember this. In Hunt's universe, there are no accidents. Every single leaf, every ray of light, every splinter of wood, it's all there for a very specific reason.
All right, let's break it down. See the door? There's no handle on the outside. That means it can only be opened from within. That's supposed to be the human soul. And the weeds choking it? Well, that's sin and neglect. The lantern, of course, is lighting the way, representing truth. And Christ isn't trying to break the door down, he's knocking, patiently. It's an invitation. It's an entire story in one single image.
Now, Hunt's obsession with truth wasn't just some philosophical idea. It was physical. He believed that to paint the truth, he had to go out and see it, to experience it, and that belief took him on some pretty incredible journeys. He actually took multiple, and often really dangerous trips to the Holy Land. And you have to ask, why? Well, because he absolutely refused to paint a biblical scene that looked like it was set in the English countryside. He needed the real light, the real landscapes, to make his paintings feel truly authentic.
And you know what? That incredible, hardcore dedication totally paid off. It injected his work with a sense of power and realism that, frankly, no other religious painter at the time could even come close to. When you look at his paintings, you don't just see the scene. You can almost feel the heat from the sun. So what's the lasting impact of this rebel painter? What did he leave behind? Well, his quest for truth didn't just give us a bunch of amazing paintings. It gave us a whole new way of seeing art itself.
Hunt basically created a new symbolic language for art. In his work, light isn't just light. It stands for divine truth. Nature isn't just a pretty background. It's a reflection of God's perfect creation. And everyday objects, they become characters in these hidden moral stories. And at the very heart of all of this was one deep conviction. For Hunt, art was not just for decoration. Its highest, most noble purpose was to make you stop and think, to make you reflect on your own life, your own beliefs.
Now, this approach wasn't always popular. I mean, he got a lot of criticism for being too weird, too detailed, too intense, but he never, ever backed down. And his commitment to that personal vision and symbolic realism ended up influencing later movements and really helped pave the way for modern art. And if there's one single quote that just perfectly captures his entire life's work, it's this one. It's so simple, but wow, is it profound. He reminds us that the best art doesn't just catch our eye, it grabs our minds and our souls too.
So the next time you're looking at a painting, any painting at all, I want you to think about William Holman Hunt. Look past the surface. Ask yourself, what is the artist really trying to tell me here? What hidden stories are you going to find?